my absolute favorite things when I was younger was learning about dark, hidden secrets in the video games I loved, and especially ones that already had a strange, sinister atmosphere to them. These kinds of stories and theories further legitimized the weird, anxious feeling I sometimes got when playing these games. I think it was especially because besides my siblings, I didn't have any friends who were as into these games as I was. In fact, in a lot of ways I kept my obsession with them pretty secret. I only watched these videos and read these wikis late at night, hidden under the covers in bed. Sometimes they legitimately did scare me, but I was so deeply compelled to dig deeper, to learn more. I just couldn't stop. Let's dive into that dark, creepy world together. For the full effect, please turn out all the lights and curl up under the covers, making sure all of you is safely hidden. You don't know what else might be watching. Mario 64 is one of the most popular games to form creepypastas around. And honestly, I get it. Despite how full it is of vibrant color and whimsy, it's difficult to ignore how liminal and empty the game can also feel. Peach's castle is almost entirely devoid of life, besides a handful of scattered toads with limited dialogue, and that one lucky silently recording your every movement. Combining the liminal sandbox nature of the game and the fact that so many of us have core childhood memories associated with it, it's clear why it's such a perfect candidate to attach urban legends and creepypastas. For example, the Wario apparition, who supposedly was born from the subconscious wishes of Wario fans who really wanted him to show up in the game. If he appears, the player is at risk of suffering memory loss and stroke-like symptoms. If you suspect you're seeing it in-game, it's suggested you set the console off immediately, because once you give it power by witnessing it, it gains power to begin manifesting itself in your reality. Like that'd be a bad thing. Actually, for some reason when I was younger, I got a similar eerie vibe from the L is real hidden message, which made me think there was a secret evil Luigi hiding somewhere in the game. I can't find evidence of any actual creepypastas associated with it. I think it was just a me thing. A lot of the Mario 64 creepypastas you'll find are very similar in nature. Guy finds an old game cartridge, feels nostalgic, plays the game, finds that it's full of weird, gory imagery, and sometimes Mario comes out of the TV and freaking kills him. But as far as popular Mario 64 creepypastas go, I'm pretty partial to the theory that Mario 64 was developed by Nintendo's secret evil experimental AI, because they do have that. Have you ever played through Wet Dry World and felt this eerie feeling? That's the emotional aura in effect. Wet Dry World has this unfinished, beta-esque feeling of incompleteness, like it was a test build that was slapped together into a course at the last second. Truth is, Wet Dry World is a simulated human brain, not in the traditional sense, but similarly to how people have made calculators in Mario Maker and computers in Minecraft. I don't remember it exactly, but it had to do with the shifting water tides. Another thing that hints into this is the brain diagram found in the stage, which was probably put in there as a reference point for the developers when making this. Super Mario 64 is, at its core, an insidious and evil work of human creation. A twisted experiment made to test the bounds of technology. It's horrifying. Every copy of Super Mario 64 is personalized. Nintendo's experimental AI adapts and subtly creates a slightly altered version of the game tailored specifically to you, appealing to you subconsciously in ways you don't even notice, as well as attempting to mess with you and study how you react to it. Have you ever played someone else's copy of Mario 64? Have you ever felt like something was just a little bit off? That's why. That's how. This is much more than just simple experimentation with procedural generation. There are many layers to this, and some of them are more sinister and malicious than others. The secrets of the game are probably hidden within a single personalized copy of somebody. A copy hidden from the masses by Nintendo to cover up the truth about their experiment. Think about it. What if the ROM that Nintendo uses for all the virtual consoles are the least personalized ROM? That way they can cover your tracks. What if the ROM that is uploaded to all those pirate sites were uploaded by Nintendo? That way people wouldn't be able to replicate the personalization. It's messed up. This goes deep. I love that this whole creepypasta is essentially just this meme. Like, is this not the coolest thing you've ever heard? I've only recently discovered the existence of B3313, but just know that I am obsessed with it conceptually and will probably play it sometime in the near future. It's basically Super Mario Yume Nikki. Did they make this game for me? One of my personal favorites that isn't technically a creepypasta but toes the line ever so slightly is known as Hell Valley Skytrees. In Super Mario Galaxy 2, you can find 3 strange figures lurking in the skybox of Silverburn Galaxy, which according to the game's files are literally named Hell Valley Skytrees. Not much is known about them, so it's speculated by some fans they're inspired by Kodama, tree spirits from Japanese folklore. I just think they're cute. Omnipresent. Wherever you are on the stage, no matter which spot you choose, look up and to your left and they will always be there, watching. Examine the game files and you'll see a strange title, Hell Valley Skytrees, so clearly they are not any form of flora. Look further and you'll find out the entire area they inhabit is deemed beyond Hell Valley. These creatures lie beyond the ominously named valley. Does Mario reside within a form of hell, constantly rescuing a repeatedly captured princess? Are these creatures some form of demon, forcing Mario to repeat as if he is insane, but not knowing it, having to repeat the same purgatorial task eternally, for pleasure? And maybe trying to make Mario forget what happened next. Perhaps replaying the game to make different places, but the same thing. Maybe even waiting for Mario to find out what's happening. Man, I want whatever these guys are playing. A really exciting feature of the Game Boy Color was a camera attachment that allowed users to take and even print real photographs. The quality wasn't good, but that wasn't the point, and in some ways even added to the novelty. The camera also came with a handful of minigames, most famously a Space Invaders inspired battle, where you could fight against a picture that you took yourself. During the battle, you would be given a variety of fairly typical RPG battle options, such as shoot, items, check, and run. If you chose the run option, you would be met with a very strange image. This face is the most commonly seen one, but depending on if you play the Japanese or American versions of the game, a few additional faces can also be seen, also displaying the same "Who are you running from?" message. As the legend goes, these are the faces of members of a cult, the man with a star on his forehead being the cult leader, and the people with wavy lines on their foreheads are his disciples. This man, who happens to be the only one not depicted with a smile, is believed to be a kidnapping victim, possibly even a sacrifice. What exactly this cult's motives were, and what exactly they had to do with the Game Boy Color is still unknown, but boy do they look heckin' weird. Okay, this one is technically not a creepypasta, but I was weirdly obsessed with this random fact when I was younger. And the original concept for this video was going to be just creepy secrets in Nintendo games. And this one happened to be the first creepy secret that I remembered from back in the day. Also, this is my video and I make the rules. In the game WarioWare Touched, each of the characters in the game have their own special theme song. One of these characters is Ashley, who also happens to be a witch. There's a section of the game where you can listen to various in-game songs using a turntable, giving you the ability to speed up or slow down the song. In a specific section of Ashley's theme, it sounds like this.
I am new, I cast a hex on you. Grandma's wig, this'll make you big. Kitchen bitch, do your pants won't fit. And what is that again, guy? Oh no, not again. She can rule the world.
And when sped up, it sounds like this.
I can rent the kitchen, oh no.
Basically, it sounded like she was saying she had granted kids to hell, which is not something you typically hear a character say in an E-rated Nintendo game. According to Nintendo, this was entirely unintentional. But, there was this rumor that in certain WarioWare touched cartridges, if you listen to this song sped up, the Wario apparition shows up, and then he comes out of the DS and hecking eats you. I don't know, I didn't actually play the game. I will forever have a soft spot for Pokemon creepypastas, and especially those that have to do with Lavender Town. Honestly, I consider Lavender Town to be my favorite location of the Kanto region, and am always excited to return to it whenever I play a Kanto game. There's just something oddly peaceful about it. Anyway, was I the only one that legitimately got the Porygon incident and the Lavender Town syndrome mixed up, and legitimately didn't realize that Lavender Town syndrome was just a creepypasta until I was an adult? According to the creepypasta, the version of the Lavender Town music that played in the original 1997 Red and Green games contained high-frequency sounds that only children under the age of 12 were able to hear. And supposedly, the sound drove around 200 children to commit suicide, and those who survived complained of terrible headaches and other symptoms of various illnesses. The version of Lavender Town's music that we hear in the US release of Red and Blue was significantly pitched down to prevent this bizarre phenomenon from happening again. Naturally, people grew curious about the supposed Lavender Town syndrome from the original Japanese games. And one guy put the track through an audio software that revealed something truly horrifying. The sound waves took on the shape of the Pokemon Unknown, spelling out the words, "Get out." This is scary, because Unknown wasn't even revealed as Pokemon until Gold and Silver were released in 1999, so that's really scary and I'm scared. There's also a lot of weird little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout Lavender Town that were great for feeding creepypasta writers, such as the implication that Blue's Raticate had died, or the ever-mysterious White Hand. One of the most famous hidden secrets is this guy called Buried Alive, that some have claimed was the original final boss of the Pokemon Tower, before being replaced by the Marowak ghost. You're here. I'm trapped. And I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me? The sprite, which supposedly can be found in the game's code, appears to be a decaying human corpse. Its team consists of 2 White Hands, a Gengar, and a Muk. Because Buried Alive was an incomplete character, if you successfully defeat them in battle, the game simply freezes. However, if you lose... Finally, raw meat. A game over sequence is triggered, revealing a sprite depicting Red getting heckin' munched and then dragged into the earth. Very important note, but it's very common misinformation that Buried Alive was actually featured in the game's files, when in reality all the popularly known sprites were designed by the very talented artist Queen Kami, who rarely gets credited for them, which sucks because they're really well designed sprites. Look at this guy. Truly iconic. One of the first creepypastas I got interested in back in the day was known as Pokemon Creepy Black, which follows the very traditional format of guy finds weird game cartridge and discovers that it has a dark, twisted secret. Pokemon Creepy Black starts out just like the typical Red and Blue games. up until it's revealed there's a secret 4th starter option, which isn't a Pokemon at all, but instead a ghost. Defending Pokemon were unable to attack Ghost. It would only say they were too scared to move. When the move Curse was used in battle, the screen would cut to black. The cry of the defending Pokemon would be heard, but it was distorted, played at a much lower pitch than normal. The battle screen would then reappear, and the defending Pokemon would be gone. If used in a battle against a trainer, when the Pokeballs representing their Pokemon would appear in the corner, they would have 1 fewer Pokeball. The implication was that the Pokemon had died. The aspect of this creepypasta that I find so fascinating is how similar in style it is to the plots of games like Undertale and Off. I would almost go so far as to say that there is a strong possibility this creepypasta inspired those games. And while there's no actual evidence of that, it's still really cool to think about. Essentially, the story goes on to explain how he goes through the game using Curse, mainly because it makes battling easier, flying through the gyms and even the Elite Four with little difficulty. However, the game takes an interesting turn when he finally makes it to the end. Upon entering your house and going to the exact tile where you start the game, the screen would cut to black. Then, a sprite of a Caterpie appeared. It was then replaced by a Weedle, and then a Pidgey. I soon realized, as the Pokemon progressed from Rattata to Blastoise, that these were all of the Pokemon that I had used Cursed on. Another cut to black. A few moments later, the battle screen suddenly appeared. Your trainer sprite was now that of an old man, the same one as the one who teaches you how to catch Pokemon in Viridian City. Ghost appeared on the other side, along with the words, "Ghost wants to fight." You couldn't use items, and you had no Pokemon. If you tried to run, you couldn't escape. The only option was fight. Using fight would immediately cause you to use struggle, which didn't affect Ghost, but did chip off a bit of your own HP. When it was Ghost's turn to attack, it would simply say ... Eventually, when your HP reached a critical point, Ghost would finally use Curse. The screen cut to black a final time. Arguably the best part of this entire creepypasta though is the final lines where the author decides to get oddly philosophical. It seems the creator was trying to convey a message, though it seems I am the sole receiver of this message. I'm not entirely sure what it was. The inevitability of death, the pointlessness of it. Perhaps he was simply trying to morbidly inject death and darkness into a children's game. Regardless, this children's game has made me think, and it has made me cry. It kind of goes hard. My favorite video game creepypasta, as well as the first one I ever got into, was Been Drowned. And honestly, I feel like me just describing it to you would honestly do the story a disservice. It feels leagues above the average video game creepypasta, as it's legitimately just a very well-written story. So if you somehow made it this far in life without having experienced Been Drowned, I highly recommend it. Been Drowned is yet another one of your typical guy finds a haunted video game cartridge type stories. This one specifically about the game Majora's Mask, a notoriously already very creepy, strange game. Actually, I didn't experience it originally as a written story, but rather through the videos that were designed to be watched alongside it. A hacked version of the game that depicted various events that took place during the story. I can most vividly recall the creepy music that played in those videos, particularly a certain track from the game played in reverse that gave me a genuine fear of backwards music. It still really creeps me out. Also, God, do any of you remember Cleverbot? I completely forgot that Cleverbot played like a huge role in this one, and honestly, kind of a jump scare, not gonna lie. There was a whole ARG based around it too that ran until 2020, which I find crazy, and so hecking cool because my only knowledge of it came from just the original videos and a few YouTubers who talked about it. I didn't know how much additional content there actually was. Alex Hong, the creator of the creepypasta and ARG, is extremely talented. Like, actually, seriously, go look it up if you haven't already. Okay, so, When I told them I was making a video about Nintendo creepypastas, a family member who wants to remain anonymous informed me that they had written a bad Kirby creepypasta a few years back, and that if I wanted to, I could share it in this video. So before we end things, I offer to you all a dramatic reading of Kirbyus, a Kirby Superstar Ultra creepypasta, presented to you without further commentary. Please enjoy. A 11-year-old boy named Toby Watson reported dead. They were played on their DS, and the game was Kirby Superstar Ultra. Their heart was ripped out and impaled, and the ribs exposed through their chest, and their eyes were bloodshot red, and blood drained through their eye sockets, and blood stained on the DS screen. Soon, as I get home from school, as I go to my room, a mysterious DS game card is on my bed. As I grab it, it's Kirby Superstar Ultra, but the first K is backwards. As I then grab my DS and put the game in without caring where it came from, I boot my game and start playing. As I play, the nice tune in the intro is normal, nothing suspicious. And as I go on files, there's already a file called Kirbyus 606. As I stare at it for a good minute, "That sounds like Morbius," I say. Then I click on that file for fun. Then I see a red screen flashing red and pink very fast. It hurts my eyes, and then it goes to the game menu. "What the flip hat?" I yell, as then I go play on Spring Breeze. And when I play, the game is nothing but fine until as I play mid-game, a black figure follows me. It looks exactly like Kirby, but he is pure black instead of his happy pink tone. And his stubby toes are bloodshot red, and his eyes are flashy red. And he then follows my character throughout the game, until I get to the final boss. Took 3 to 5 hours. As I fight Mark Soul, he stopped followed me. He looked rather scared. He runs away. "Coward!" I yell at the Dark Kirby, as I then finally beat Mark Soul. Instead of his normal scream he makes when he gets cut in half, he makes a literal girl screech, as if the person who made it was actually dying. I jumped out of my chair and tried to turn my volume down the best I could. It scares me to death. My heart's still racing. Then the game goes black for 10 minutes. As I sip my soda through my McDonald's straw, a horrifying jump scare of a realistic black Kirby up close with gritted teeth and thin, bloodshot red eyes staring deep into my soul and scares me. I instantly close my DS and throw it in my trash can without thinking and hide in my blankets. After a minute or two, I grab the game and try to play again. And as the intro comes, it shows the same thing. But instead of it saying Kirby Superstar Ultra, it just says Kirbyus 606, with the dark Kirby in the screen instead of Kirby, and it really hit me. This game is cursed. I tried to turn it off, but the DS itself wouldn't budge. Now this is damn cursed. As then the screen turned black, and tiny words came on screen, and it allowed me to talk back. "Hello, dear. New phone who dis? Ah, yes. Well, some call me the Black Figure, or perhaps Dark Kirby, or maybe Kirbyus. What do you want from me? I used to be like you. Human." "Correct." And an image appeared in my head of a boy with black hair with a bowl cut, pale skin and overalls, and he had his legs chopped off and left it eye next to a tree, and he was holding a Kirby Superstar Ultra DS card, and my head ached. Well, do you perhaps know why you can't stop playing? I've made it so whoever plays can never stop. They're too addicted to it, and then that's when I come in. What did you do to Toby? I took their soul. What the hell are you? Give me your soul. And the game itself crashed, and static sounds were playing even if the volume was off. And then drilling sounds began. It wasn't from outside. The neighbors weren't doing yard work. It was from the game, even if the sound was off. And then a rhythm of screams began, and I accidentally threw my DS downstairs, and the blue screen turned on, and white words I couldn't see, and beeping sounds. My mom ran in. Michael Lawrence, why the hell did you throw your DS down the stairs? She demanded. I then ran down to grab it. Sorry, it slipped out of my hands, I quickly told. Nope, I'm taking it from you for the day. She took it and put it on a high shelf. Then on my computer, I then searched about the image that appeared in my head, and I found an article. A boy who had served legs and left to die. As I clicked on it, it showed the image of a boy in a hospital. His name was Glenn K. Mitchell, and he was only 11, like Toby. And it had occurred around August 2013, and then it said the killer was unknown, and that he had died. But why was he holding a Kirby Superstar Ultra DS card in the image that was in my head? And is this boy Kirbyus? At midnight I got out of bed and climbed a shelf and took the DS and ran back and hid under my blanket and played the game. As then, the scary intro played, but then Kirbyus had then became a playable character. As I played as him instead of Kirby, he was faster. He ran instead of walking. And then, when I tried to inhale a Waddle Doo, he inhaled the whole game. And it was just a black screen, and words with bloodshot text, "Give me your soul." And then Kirbyus's hand came through the screen and ripped into my chest and dug in to grab my soul. As I thrashed and screamed, he then ripped it out, and then my chest hole sprayed blood everywhere and all over the screen. If you made it to the end of this video, I'd love it if you'd share your favorite gaming creepypastas in the comments. Have you ever written your own creepypasta? I'd love to read those as well. I'd really like to be able to make more videos like this, and the continued support of Bytes can help make that happen. Thank you ever so very much for watching, and have a spooky Halloween. Bye bye. He's behind you. Kirbyus is watching.